development highly depends upon GPUs for it being trained sufficiently.
Yeah. Leo, I would like to go back to your company. We didn't talk too much about it.
Sure.
So the platform that you're creating, beyond-u.med,
Mhm.
is it out already? People can start using it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, our website is live, but we are still going through a technological update, and we are also forming the last bits and pieces of legal documents. And we've really been working hard on what we are essentially going to do. And as you build a company, this oftentimes shifts.
Yeah.
So right now it has become a general mental health platform. And what makes us unique from other companies, startups in the sphere is that we offer therapists from West Africa via online therapy to English-speaking and French-speaking clients. So that means, let's assume someone is of African descent and they live somewhere in the world and they cannot find a therapist because, I mean, there are too few therapists. Then we can say, okay, why not try our platform? We can connect you with a therapist from West Africa, and private health insurance companies will even get you a refund if you use our platform. So it's essentially, we help people find therapists which haven't been there before because there are too few therapists. We enable the therapist from Africa to earn more money, and ultimately the private health insurance companies will also cover the costs. So it's a win-win situation. And a lot of people might ask themselves, okay, why consult a therapist from Africa? I think you should, because it is affordable at a cheaper rate. And a lot of therapists in Africa or psychologists in Africa, they don't work in the field because the social sector is not as big, meaning that there are a lot of psychologists in Central Africa, but they don't work in therapy at all because most people or almost all people in Africa cannot afford therapy. So this is where we are starting. So we are bringing them from Central Africa to all over the world, and because we also make it cheaper compared to if the therapist is located somewhere in Europe, people can then also donate money to people in Africa so that they can afford therapy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're helping people in Europe getting therapy because it's very hard to get a therapist here. I know that for sure. A lot of people, a lot of friends of mine, they have like those long lists of waiting lists. Like they might not even get it, and once they do, it's expensive. So you're fixing that problem, bringing therapists at a more affordable price, I assume, to
Mhm.
to Europeans, and you're also providing this opportunity for Africans to exerce their profession.
Yes.
Yeah, well done.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And on top of all of that, you have the donation part where you help people who cannot afford therapy get
Yeah.
therapy. Okay.
And personally, to me, this is like the most meaningful part of it because when I was studying for my first degree, I was thinking about heading in the NGO field.
Mm-hmm.
So NGOs like non-governmental organizations, but the payment would be super, 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 super low. So I think if you graduated, it would be among the lowest paying fields one could work in, working for NGOs, at least as a starter. And I've always been quite passionate about it because as an NGO, you really help people in Africa or people that are highly in need. And while I was writing on X, which I do on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
I got a message from like an orphanage in Uganda for children on the autism spectrum.
Really?
And I was in touch with them, just writing back and forth. And I asked myself, okay, how can I help them? I don't want to send them money because I mean, if you start sending people money, they become dependent from you. And it's like this quote with the fisherman, right? So you have to build a system or teach people a skill so that they can support themselves. And I mean, getting in touch with them like 1.5 years ago, just out of interest, definitely shaped this idea of, okay, let us actually build in a donate function on our website that people then can donate to that really need it the most. Because I mean, who is more disadvantaged in life than an orphanage for children on the autism spectrum in Uganda, you know? So that's quite meaningful to me. And whilst you try to motivate yourself in a lot of ways when you build a startup, but when you get up in the morning and think to yourself, okay, at some point I'm going to build a platform that is going to help a lot of disadvantaged children lead a better life in the future. I mean, that's really, really meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, you're changing lives, man. Um, let's 1 second. There's a fly here. So sorry, it's so annoying. Um, all right, so I'm gonna open your website here. Give me a second. Beyond-u.net. Beyond.
Yeah. So there's a little bit to see.
Yes. It's online. We can do it. We can use it.
It's online,
Yeah.
and right now there's still some stuff to be done regarding the categories and services, so on and so forth. But we will launch in a couple of days, weeks, presumably, and it will also be available as an iOS and Android download app. So
okay, so that's also in the works. All right.
Exactly.
I'm trying to pick a location, but maybe it's not working because I'm streaming.
Yeah, and also because right now the people in Nigeria are working on technological updates.
Okay, so let's pretend it's working, everyone.
Yeah, it's a really weird feeling being an online entrepreneur and just knowing that a bunch of people that you've never seen in your life are working somewhere abroad, like 3,000 kilometers away from you or something at this point in time. But I'm happy I met my co-founder, whose name is Jefta, who really helped me shape this idea, because when you try to build a company, it's really important who you are working with, and the person that you are working with and developing the idea is just very crucial in shaping the future. Because when you start, no one has the answer of what unique solution you are going to bring to the market, because you haven't delved too deep into the topic itself. But then you just become very much focused on the product or solution you're building, and you're studying a lot of competitors. I went to a lot of startup events. I talked to a lot of people. I got a lot of different feedback. And I mean, this way, if you present your idea every day to different people, it just naturally evolves if you also dig into research, right? So you talk to people and dig into research, and you do this all day. And at some point, hopefully, you find a solution. And it's possible. You don't have to be perfect in the beginning. So, for example, PayPal was voted in 1999 in the top 10 worst products.
What?
Like, worst products of the year by some ranking. And I mean, anyone knows their story after it, right? How much they grew. So with a lot of determination and dedication, you can just turn a very shitty idea into a very good one. Or like the founder of Hinge, the dating app, maybe some people may have used it. He was just obsessed by this idea of creating an online dating app, and a lot of friends